Walk into any supermarket in 2025 and the energy drink aisle looks like a neon battlefield. Cans in every color stacked sky high, all screaming about power, focus, performance, wings, fuel. Prices from $1 to $4. Claims from clean energy to gives you superpowers. But here's the ugly truth. Not all energy drinks are created equal. Some are clever branding wrapped around sugar water. Some push legal limits on caffeine. And some, well, they're straight up disasters in a can. Today, we're ranking 7 of the most recognizable energy drink brands, from the ones you should avoid at all costs to the only ones that are at least worth your money. And trust me, you might be surprised at who crashes to the very bottom. Number 7. Bang, the crash and burn brand that went from booming sales to bankruptcy in just a few years. In the late 2010s, Bang was everywhere. Bright neon cans, wild flavors, and a marketing blitz that made it feel unstoppable. But behind the hype was chaos. Super creatine wasn't creatine as consumers understood it. It was a made-up compound, unproven in humans, marketed like a miracle. Lawsuits piled up, including a major false advertising case brought by Monster that ended with a huge judgment against Bang's parent company. The money ran out. By late 2022, the owner filed for bankruptcy. In 2023, Monster acquired Bang's assets at auction. Brutal irony. The rival that sued them ended up owning what was left. Owner experience? Scroll TikTok and you'll find people mourning favorite flavors disappearing. Or complaining cans sat in warehouses so long they tasted flat. Distribution crumbled, and with it, trust. Bang is a shell of its former self, a cautionary tale of hype over honesty. If Bang was the crash, the next brand is the hype train that looked unstoppable until reality caught up. Number 6. Prime, the hype hangover that proves viral fame doesn't always last. Launched by Logan Paul and KSI, Prime stormed into stores with viral lines and resale prices. But Prime Energy packs about 200 milligrams of caffeine per can, roughly 2 Red Bulls worth. Parents and pediatricians warned that young fans, many under 16, were chugging adult-sized doses. Schools banned it. Lawmakers called for tighter oversight. In the U.S., a Senate push prodded FDA scrutiny of labeling and whether the energy and hydration products were too easy to confuse. Canada announced recalls and import enforcement over caffeine label compliance, and some schools in Australia and the UK banned sales. By 2025, the frenzy had clearly cooled. Shelves that once sold out now often had plenty in stock. Owner reviews split down the middle. Some swear by the taste and kick. Others report jitters, crashes, and that familiar "why did I do that?" 2 hours later. Prime promised to be the next Red Bull. Instead, it became a case study in what happens when influencer hype collides with health warnings. If Prime was the flashy newcomer that stumbled, the next brand is the opposite, once everywhere and now fading quietly into the background. Number 5. Rockstar, the forgotten giant that once challenged Red Bull and Monster but couldn't keep up. In the 2000s, Rockstar was everywhere. Massive cans, extreme flavors, and a sponsorship strategy that put it on the same stage as the heavyweights. Then the wheels started to wobble. A typical 16-ounce Rockstar Original carries about 63 grams of sugar, more than a can of Coke, and 160 milligrams of caffeine per can, while other Rockstar lines vary higher depending on size and formula. Health advocates blasted the formulas. Consumers complained of headaches and hard crashes. Meanwhile, rivals evolved. Monster leaned into flavors and sub-brands. Red Bull polished the premium image. Newer players built big zero-sugar lines. Rockstar's identity never really moved. PepsiCo bought the brand in 2020, hoping to revive it. Instead, sales slipped further. In 2025, you'll still find Rockstar in gas stations, usually in the dusty corner where forgotten drinks go to die. Rockstar was positioned to dethrone Red Bull. Now, it's proof that louder doesn't mean better, and in the energy drink wars, standing still means fading fast. If If Rockstar is the fading giant, the next brand is the mid-tier standby. Widely available, memorable marketing, forgettable experience. Number 4. Nause, the mid-tier standby with fast car branding but sluggish staying power. Named after nitrous oxide systems in racing cars, Nause hit shelves with a promise of speed, adrenaline, and power. In practice, it lands squarely in the middle, stronger than a soda, but without the cult followings of Red Bull or Monster, and without Celsius's fitness halo. On paper, it checks the boxes. Roughly 160 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, depending on can size, a big hit of sugar in classic flavors, plus the usual B vitamins. Owner experience? Tastes like citrus soda with a jolt. Good in a pinch, forgettable the next day. That's Nause. Not terrible, not great, and rarely anyone's number one pick. Consistency and availability keep it on shelves. Excitement doesn't. It rarely headlines scandals, but it rarely impresses. It's the rental car of energy drinks. It'll get you there, but no one's framing a photo of it. We've cleared the middle of the pack. Now the temperature rises. The disruptor that turned gyms into billboards, the cultural powerhouse that dominates events, and the king that wrote the playbook. Number 3. Celsius, the disruptor on fire, marketed as the healthy energy drink taking over gyms and TikTok. The hook is simple: no sugar, green tea extract, metabolism boost on the can. For a generation that wants clean energy, it was the perfect pitch. Sales exploded and the brand became inescapable. Here's the catch: those metabolism-boosting effects mostly trace back to caffeine and common stimulants. Celsius also settled a class action over no preservatives labeling. Plaintiffs argued citric acid acts as a preservative. The company said it's used for flavor. And doses that look fine on paper can still be too much if you stack cans with pre-workout or coffee. Still, Celsius is the modern disruptor, a direct challenge to Monster and Red Bull's decades-long dominance. And if history repeats, disruptors don't stay underdogs for long. So with Celsius climbing the charts, how do the giants respond? That brings us to a brand so big, so culturally dominant, it practically defines the energy drink aisle. Number 2. Monster, the cultural powerhouse that turned a green claw into a global empire. The claw mark logo, black and green cans, and an endless wall of flavors. Monster is more than a drink, it's a lifestyle. From motocross to MMA, music festivals to gaming tournaments, Monster bought its way into almost every corner of youth culture. The variety is staggering. Zero Ultra, Juice Monster, Rehab, Nitro, even coffee hybrids. If Red Bull feels minimalist, Monster is maximalist, loud, brash, and everywhere. The controversies are real too. Over the years, Monster has faced lawsuits alleging health harms and criticism over marketing to teens. The company disputes the accusations, but the headlines stick. Schools and some retailers have restricted sales to younger customers in various places, reflecting ongoing concern about high caffeine drinks. Despite the heat, Monster keeps growing. It thrives on rebellion, and for millions of fans, that's the appeal. Under the hood, most classic Monster cans carry around 160 milligrams of caffeine per 16 ounces, with specialty lines climbing higher. Sugar-free variants cut calories but keep the stimulant punch. That flexibility, something for every niche, is a big reason Monster owns so much shelf space, unmatched by almost everyone, except the one that built the category and still sits on the throne. Number 1. Red Bull, the king of energy drinks that built an empire on wings. Every empire has challengers, but only one brand can say it created the kingdom. Red Bull didn't just sell energy drinks, it invented the category. The genius wasn't only the drink, it was the marketing. Tiny cans, sky-high prices, and that iconic slogan, Red Bull gives you wings. Extreme sports, cliff diving, Formula One, even a guy skydiving from the edge of space, Red Bull turned itself into a lifestyle. Taste-wise, it's divisive. Some love the sharp, medicinal flavor, others hate it. But the brand is so strong, the taste is almost irrelevant. People buy the energy, the identity, the feeling you're part of something bigger. And in 2025, despite Prime's hype, Celsius's rise, and Monster's cultural dominance, Red Bull still holds the crown. It's the benchmark, the drink every competitor measures against. Red Bull's standard 8.4-ounce can carries about 80 milligrams of caffeine, modest next to today's mega cans. That predictability, dose, effect, everywhere you go, is part of its staying power. For better or worse, Red Bull is the king, and until someone truly rewrites the playbook, that's not changing. So, what have we learned? Bang collapsed under lawsuits and bankruptcy, Prime was more hype than substance, Rockstar faded into irrelevance, Nause holds the middle without impressing, Celsius is the disruptor, rising fast, Monster is the cultural powerhouse, loved and criticized in equal measure, and Red Bull is still the king. One truth cuts through them all. Energy drinks aren't just about caffeine, they're marketing, culture, controversy, and sometimes health risks hiding in plain sight. The next time you reach for a can, remember, you're not just buying a drink, you're buying into a story. Before you go, the one brand I'd personally avoid at all costs, Prime. Not because it's the lowest on the list, but because hype aimed squarely at kids collided with adult-level caffeine and a wave of school bans and scrutiny. That mismatch is a red flag. If this opened your eyes, share it with someone who downs these daily, and don't forget to subscribe. We uncover the truth behind the logos, labels, and lies every week.